Hey guys, welcome back to the FIRL channel, your wormhole from TradFi to DeFi. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to survive a market crash. But before we begin, just a quick disclaimer. Whatever we discuss in today's video should not be taken as financial advice. If you are seeking a financial advice to make a financial decision, please seek a licensed professional.
Alright guys, if you're wondering why we're making this video, one thing you gotta realize that we're not trying to predict the market. We don't know when the crash is coming. But we know that crypto has been on a very, very big bull run, especially since 2020 during the pandemic. And while we don't know when the crash is coming, we know it will come eventually. Many people who started investing during this period have made a lot of money. And what we are seeing is that there's a lot of looseness, by that I mean there's a lot of complacency. One fact is that we know, like I said earlier on, a crash is coming. So I think the important thing for us is not so much to predict when a crash is coming, but how to prepare for one. What are some of the tips that we can use so that we can weather the coming storm? Before we go into the first tip, do check out in the description or the comments our Telegram group chat. Join it so you can chat with us, network, and also maybe even find and discover some alpha.
So MJ, one of the points that I've written here that I want to talk about, and I think it's very important because I've gone through it myself when I was a newbie in crypto. And you know what? I called myself a newbie just last year because that's when I really got into crypto. Was that I really did, rather than investing in crypto, I was trading. So a story that I shared with you, right, was when I first bought one of my first main crypto, was Ethereum and Bitcoin. The whole idea of buying it was that so I can sell it higher and chow and escape from the market.
How much higher?
So I remember during March, I think that's when everything dropped. So I bought a little bit of Ethereum. I wanted to sell it even just after a 20% gain. And I literally woke up in the middle of the night. I set my alarm at 3 a.m. in the morning just to check whether or not, hey, the price has actually gone up or not. To be fair, I made a little bit of money, maybe 10-20% of what I initially put in. But because it's an MCO, because I had literally nothing to do, that's why I was waking up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. to really just sell Ethereum and then hoping to wake up the next morning that it drops back to its original price and then to buy it back again. That was what my experience with crypto trading was. And I wouldn't recommend that personally, especially if we are potentially entering a bear market.
So I think to your point, it sounds to me that the first tip really is to actually know what you own. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, when you were looking through all of it at night, the reason you wanted to sell it for a 10 or 20% gain was probably because you didn't know much about it and you just wanted a quick buck, essentially.
Yes.
At what price was it at that time, do you remember?
2020, I think it was sub $300 or $200.
For Ethereum.
Correct.
Yeah, so you can imagine today it's like 4,000 something already, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that for those listening, I think that's the first tip, right? Know what you own. And the reason is because during a bear market or a crash, let's say it drops by 50-60%, if you don't know about it, you probably would just dump it and just get out, right? But if you actually know about Ethereum, about Bitcoin, you actually not just leave it there, not sell it, add more.
So in fact, I think this is interesting because I was just talking to a friend yesterday about Ethereum and he has always been a trader. You know, he wants to buy and then just make that 5%, 10% trade because crypto, as everyone says, is a very volatile asset and it's perfect for trading, right? But since he gotten to know the asset class way deeper, what it's about, what it's going to do, Ethereum 2.0 and all that, he is now more comfortable and he says he's going to hold it for the next 3 to 5 years and see how it plays out. And just, not putting more than what you can afford to lose, which is what he is now doing so that he's more comfortable to actually hodl through a potential market crash as well.
Okay, so to your point, right, number 2 tip is to invest with only money that you can afford to lose. And maybe if I define it a little bit clearer, what that means is that you want to put in money where if it disappeared tomorrow, it doesn't change your life dramatically, right? You don't rely on it for, let's say, financially supporting your family, or if you have a mortgage, or maybe you have a wedding coming up, you don't need to rely on that money, then that is a good idea. But how would you expand on this point?
I would say, it's so for me myself, right? I think what I could afford to lose in crypto in 2020 was probably 2% of what my investable net worth was. Even with just 2% of money into crypto, right? I was waking up at 3 a.m. to check whether or not, hey, is it time for me to sell?
It's crazy.
Because I had zero conviction that Bitcoin and Ethereum were going to scale to, in less than 1 year, right? The heights that they are in today. And now I'm way more than 2%, and full disclaimer, I'm about 30% or 35%.
Yep.
On a good day, maybe 40%.
Yeah.
On
And
the
on a
peak.
bad day, 20%.
On a bad day, 20%.
Yeah.
But what I can afford to lose right now, I feel is much higher because I have now understood the asset class much better. Back to our previous point now. But I mean, how do you define though? To yourself, for
Yeah.
yourself, what you can afford to lose?
Well, like I said, it's all about understanding your financial situation, right? It's like for a lot of people, what I do not agree with is if there are people who are going for broke, right? The kites that need the money within a month, or and they are like, oh, I need to, or maybe they just lost their job, and so they're like, oh, I need to have, this is a make or break for them, right? For to be in crypto, or people who are incredibly greedy, right? To say that, this within the next 2 years, right? I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. You might end up becoming like that, but I don't think that is the right motivation, because then you're going to start doing silly things, lah. So I mean, each individual, have their own situation. So I can't really comment like how much is enough. But usually my simple go-to is that if you have, for example, a good savings rate, right, in your personal life, if you earn an income or whatnot, this is probably true whether you earn your income from crypto or the non-crypto world, and then you have a certain amount of money saved up, right? Sometimes they call it an emergency fund, where, depending on your situation, 3 to 6 months of that is saved up, so that no matter what happens to your investments, it doesn't really affect your life materially. Once you've got all this in place, and of course, good insurance and things like that, then you can go crazy on the other amount. Then you can sleep a lot better when you see Bitcoin fall by 20% and Ethereum fall by 50%.
So to end the point that you just made, a very good point, right? Don't put more than what you can afford to lose. I think one very straightforward quote that I got on Twitter, where most crypto alpha is at, is if you're not comfortable with how much you have in crypto, sell. If you're still not comfortable with how much you have in crypto after you sell more. Sell until you're comfortable. I think that's one thing that I want to start doing more now that, hey, some of my crypto milestones have been achieved.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. So, what is your personal comfort level when it comes to crypto investment? How much are you comfortable putting in terms of a percentage for your net worth in crypto assets? Let us know in the comment section down below. So, the next point I want to make is that I think for myself, right, I've actually only been as an investor through one bear market, which is the COVID bear market. Because before that, I wasn't having a lot of my money into stocks or crypto. But the COVID bear market, and having gone through it now in hindsight, 2020, right, it's clear that I would have made so much money if I actually used the time where everything was so depressed in price to really research and to, in crypto terms, right, ape into some of these crypto, some of these stocks. And I want to say generational wealth is made during the bear market. And that's when I should, in hindsight, be doing more research, doing more due diligence, building conviction, and then deciding to actually put in money to some of the things that I really believe in.
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, if you look at how human beings have evolved, right? We are trained to be bad investors, right? When we see danger, we run from it, and when we see shiny objects, we run towards it, right? But then sometimes, right, you need the danger so that, in the past, right, you have to hunt animals, so you have to fight your fears, otherwise you can't get meat or food, right? And then, or that shiny thing might be a trap, right? So we are designed to be bad investors. So the only tip, like a joint tip for that is try to operate or work against your immediate reaction, right? When you wake up 2 a.m. in the morning to see a price drop 20%, the immediate impulse, right, is to want to sell. right? Naturally, and that's fine, right? I face it, you face it as well. That's why if we go back, you gotta to your point, right? You gotta research, and you actually need to know things like the tokenomics, who's behind it, what's the development activity, what's the community like for that crypto project. Then that's gonna give you a lot of comfort even during a 60 to 70. Like I mean, right now, right? I've bought coins that drop within 2 weeks, right? 80% from its high. But am I losing sleep? No. Obviously, it's a bit irritating, and you can say, I wish I sold it a little bit, sold some earlier. But that's the nature of investing in crypto specifically. It's very unique to crypto because seldom you see this in even the stock or the real estate world, right? It doesn't drop 80% very quickly. And just think about it, right? All the people with a lot of Ethereum in their wallets and a lot of Bitcoin in their wallets, those that have been around since 2008, 2010, 2011, imagine how many bear markets have they faced, how many 90% declines have they faced. And yet these are the richest people in crypto. So to your point about generational wealth, if the project is good, hodl. Okay, this next one is very important. What you need is what we call in the crypto space the copium gang. So what is the copium gang, right? The copium gang is basically a group of friends that are in the same boat as you, buy maybe the same tokens as you, and all of you guys drop
90% together.
90%, and all of you are together, sulking by the roadside, drinking maybe some beer or maybe some Milo.
Applying job in McDonald's.
Drowning your sorrows. But at least you do it together, right? So shout out to the Lunatics Malaysia group, right?
Yeah.
Of course now Luna is doing really well, but if it goes down, then at least I know who to look for, right?
Be there for each other, guys.
We'll be there for each other. No, I mean jokes aside, right? It's like therapy, right? You need to have people to share some of your convictions with during a bear market, essentially, right? If you do it alone, it's not going to be very fun. Now, on the flip side, I think there is something bad as well, which is that, if, let's say, it goes a bit too hot, but everyone starts pumping each other up, and then either they don't sell when things change or when it's overvalued, then obviously the reverse can be true. But yeah, what would you say some of the other advantages of being in this sort of scenario or groups?
I mean, the largest advantage that being in like-minded groups like this is that, I mean, ideally right, you want to keep each other in check But the flip side of you potentially being in an echo chamber where you're just touting each other's horn, and then everyone really believes that Bitcoin's going to go to like 7 figures, and that can be dangerous as well, right? But I think, as you said, if we do head into a bear market, we really need some form of a community there to really, keep each other in check. Is the project's fundamentals still strong? Yes. Is the roadmap still being achieved? Yes. I mean, is the valuation low right now? You want to buy more? Yes. So I think that's the beauty of a community. And you can follow us on our Telegram community or Lunatics Malaysia as well. Yeah.
Liking the video so far, remember to, of course, share it with some of your friends who might find this useful. Remember to, of course, like the video, comment, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so that whenever we got new videos, you'll know immediately.
So the last point, right? I think this last point is, it's often not shared in the crypto world or even the stock world, where a lot of things we look at are numbers based, like 20% increase, 30% increase. But ultimately, the people that make those buying, selling decisions is yourself. And what controls you, what defines you is a lot of what is inside you, your psychology, right? And I really believe that having a life outside of crypto to really promote your well-being, your mental health, it's really, really important to make you not just a great investor, a good investor, but also a well-rounded person as well. So just don't make stupid decisions like selling everything when your portfolio is down 90%.
Yeah.
An example I want to give is that I mentioned waking up at 3 a.m. to sell Ethereum during the COVID time, right? That's because I had no life, literally. I couldn't go to work. I didn't have anything to do. I literally had no incentive to wake up before 12 p.m. I could wake up super late and still be okay with it. It's because literally the only thing that I needed to do was stay at home, watch TV, and then just trade crypto. But since work started, right, I've gone through days without even logging into my Binance account. Sorry, I know it's banned. Back then, right, Binance account. Checking the price charts on Luno, or even checking my stock market portfolio. 3-4 days, I don't see it. When I log into it, hey, it's 20% up, man. Great. No big deal. So So we talked about it as well, right, MJ? You mentioned also certain aspects of your life outside of crypto has helped you to be a better investor. What examples would you give?
Doing squats, definitely, man. No, but I mean, jokes aside, right? Like, I think if you have an active lifestyle and if you have friends, and you know, one thing very funny, actually talking about sharing crypto with friends actually can be beneficial for you in this department because if you're sharing about crypto, you're still, I guess, in the crypto verse or talking about crypto without looking at your portfolio and all that, right? So another one is, I think, an active lifestyle. I think that's really, really important, right? Lift weights and all that. Like, I think we were just joking before filming this that when you lift weights, I think that feels a lot harder than actually a market crash in any asset classes, which I kind of have to agree, especially if you're going heavy, right? So, yeah, I think, like you said, having a life outside, not just in terms of fitness, but in terms of friendships or relationships, I think, as cliche and as boring as it sounds, that is going to actually help you a lot because if you look at, and you know, I come from a stock investing background, and one of the key lessons you learn is that, you know, the stock market is a place where money is transferred from the impatient to the patient. So the guy who does very minimal trading or the guy who does very little, period, right, is going to actually be the one that's going to be successful long term. And personally, having been in the crypto space for now coming up to 3 years, right, that's exactly what I feel and exactly the mistakes I made as well. All the time when I'm trading and I intend to get out within the next day or whatever, usually don't turn out well. And the worst ones are when it does turn out well for one of them. So those are the worst because then you think that I can actually do this. I am actually quite successful at this. Then you try to repeat it, and then you realize that you know, that was a 1 out of 10 kind of situation. It's a fluke, right? So yeah, you know, inactivity gets rewarded when it comes to investing, and that's why, as I mentioned earlier on, investing is very anti-human in that it's not natural to us, right? Because for us, in your line of work, in my line of work, the more we do, the more money we make. So we think activity equals results. True for a lot of things. But for investing, it's not necessarily the case. Sometimes the less you do, the better it becomes. I mean, think about it. Like, do people holding Ethereum need to know about NFTs and even DeFi to that extent? No. You just buy Ethereum and you're done.
Get on with your life. Yeah. I mean, to close on your point on that, right? I feel like it's so underrated to, you know, exercise, have friends,
Yes.
family support. Because if really crypto goes to shit and we hit a 3-year bear market, right? Hey, if you have friends, you have family, you have other things to kind of like be grateful for in life. I know it's very woo-woo, it's very cliche.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right? One thing that I always tell myself, that I can't remember where I heard of it, but it's one thing I tell myself whenever I go through a really shitty patch, that I'm always going to be having a bed, sleeping under a roof.
That's right.
And I'm always able to crawl out of it again. And even if my portfolio, touch wood, drops 95%, you know, if I don't put the money that I can't afford to lose, I can always crawl myself back
Exactly.
up. So we hope you enjoyed the video. It's been quite a fun one for us to film. But we would like to hear from you as well. What would you suggest as, you know, helpful, practical tips to survive the impending market crash? Let us know in the comment section below. And take care.